Hello Year 11, welcome back. This is one of the first of 3 videos which will recap what we learnt about Stalin's economic reforms last term, and one at the end will tell you about the impact that we didn't get time to cover. But for the first one we're going to look at collectivisation. So collective farms, what were they? They were large-scale farms run by state committees where peasants had to meet state production targets. So all their land was put together and made into large collective farms. They had to work together. On average, there were about 15 families on 80 hectare kolkhols, which is the Russian word for a collective farm. The state was supposed to supply schools, homes and equipment, but it did not always reach that standard, so different kolkhols varied depending on the facilities that were available. After 1935, peasants were allocated an acre of land to farm for themselves because of the level of dissent. Collectivisation was hugely unpopular. There were a lot of objections, mostly from the peasants, who disliked orders, structured hours, and being told what to do. The kulaks in particular worked very hard under the NEP and did not want to lose their wealth. Remember, they were the wealthier class of peasants who had managed to save up lots of money from growing a surplus of grain in the early 20s. Stalin accused them of behaving in an uncommunist way. It was not just the kulaks who resisted, however. Lots of people did not want to be responsible for the workers in the towns. Because of this, many of them refused to comply with Stalin's plans, and compulsory collectivisation was introduced in 1928. How did Stalin react to people objecting? Not very well. He sent undercover officials to find hidden grain that the kulaks had stored. He began a process of dekulakization where he deported thousands of kulaks to labour camps. Between 1930 and 1931, he had dekulakized 600,000 farms. From 1932, any peasant who refused to join a collective farm was deemed to be a kulak, and many were shot if they resisted arrest. They were often sent to Siberia and other labour camps as well. So based on that, did they work? They had some successes but also some negatives. By 1935, over 90% of land was collectivised, which was the aim of the collectivisation plans. On some collectives, production did increase. However, the number of livestock never increased. More peasants were educated. After 1935, grain and animal production rose. By 1934, rationing had also ended. Control of food was easier, and the state began exporting the grain that the peasants had grown, which would make them more money. However, there was quite a negative impact on the people. There was a huge famine in 1932 to 1933 where over 3 million starved. Many thought this to be a punishment, which was the official line from the government. This made the peasants resentful, and they didn't try. They accidentally broke machines in order to not meet the quotas. Many of the workers were unskilled, the production targets were far too high, and there was lots of wasted machinery. So many people were not skilled enough to actually make the machines to the quality that was needed.